So with me going back in time and playing older racing games, I was kind of going through Need for Speed. We went through something like Midnight Club Los Angeles. I was playing through the Dirt series. And there was one game I did end up thinking about, but also somebody mentioned it in a comment, which is going to be a game called Blur. Honestly, guys, I feel like this racing game really is something they really should have did another one of, or even brought this game to like newer gen somewhere, because I feel like Blur is such an underrated gem, which I will take a deep dive into that in a separate video. But I gotta admit, this game is so dang dope. And it's kind of crazy because I never played Blur back in the day at all, bro. Like, ever. In fact, I'm going to be real. I didn't even know this game existed until probably like 5 or 6 months ago when somebody was like, yo, have you guys ever played Blur or something like that? I'm like, what in the world is that, bro? I did end up seeing the cover. I'm like, this is a racing game with power-ups? Wait, so it's going to be like a Need for Speed type of like arcade handling, which, by the way, if you're wondering, the handling in Blur, dude, I know people probably going to be mixed on different racing games, but I gotta admit, Blur's handling is actually pretty good, dude. Like, I'm gonna be real. There is going to be different classes, like we will have something like off-road drift. We're also going to have like grippy, very grippy, and stuff like that. So there's going to be different categories there, and some vehicles are going to perform better in different places. Like, if you are going to use a vehicle that's going to be higher and drifty, the car might be a tad faster or something. So you might be a little bit better on straightaways than in corners. You might end up struggling a bit. Whereas like a grippy car is going to, grip, which probably makes a lot of sense. And then you're also going to maybe be a tad slower in some areas on these straightaways, but there's also a balance of vehicles kind of hitting everything. Then we obviously have off-road. But one thing I really liked about Blur, though, is just how different this game truly was. Like, we all do know a lot of racing games, you might obviously be racing down the street trying to beat your opponents and stuff like that, and the biggest goal is to probably get in front of them and win the race, right? Well, in Blur, you are going to have a lot more things to worry about, and also it's going to make it way more intense. Racers are going to be hitting you more, which I gotta admit probably isn't going to be all that different, as most modern racing games, if you're racing online, you are most likely going to be getting rammed by other racers anyway, so that's probably not all that much different. Pretty much the first corner and everybody just crashes into it, nobody actually stops. But the funny part in Blur, though, is you are going to have access to weapons in this game, aka power-ups, which are also going to allow you to do different things to your opponents. So if somebody is going to ram you, then you're probably going to have an option like shooting like one of the fireball things at them, which I would say some of this, again, is going to be mixed. Like, if you guys are thinking of Mario Kart or something along those lines, you're probably going to get some of those vibes from the power-ups, but they're also going to be a tad different. You're going to have one where it is going to shoot a fireball, as I mentioned. You're also going to have a mine you can shoot out. You're also going to get one that is going to give you a big boost of speed, kind of like a nitrous type of thing, which is going to be very helpful, I would say, on most of the events I was doing. I was actually trying to grab those that can greatly get you in front. You're also going to have like a purple shockwave thing, and using that, you'd basically knock other racers. Like, going into a full turn and hitting like 5 or 6 racers was absolutely hilarious. The next thing you're going to find is like pretty much shooting like these purple things at your opponents as well. Could be a good way to kind of slow them down and mess their vehicle up and stuff like that. I also think some of it might go behind you, but I'm not 100% sure. You're also then going to have a very obvious thing, which is a shield, but also you can level that up a bit, which when you knock into your opponents, it will like knock them back and stuff like that, which is very useful. And then the one thing you're probably going to be finding yourself really needing is going to be a repair thing. Then we're also going to have like the lightning thing, which is going to hit other racers and stuff like that. That one really did remind me of Mario Kart when everybody gets like shrunken down and stuff. Really was going to be a cool thing there. And it kind of makes racing really interesting, man. Like, I do not know of another game like this one. Apparently Split Second is kind of similar. I've never played that game either. I am searching for a copy. But man, playing Blur, dude, like, I really think other racing games should be made like this one, which I am going to talk about that in a separate video. I just feel like these games were so dang different, dude. Like, yeah, we're going to have other racing games like Forza and stuff like that. We got The Crew, which I would say modern-wise are probably the two biggest open-world games we have right now. There's not really anything else out there, at least when it comes to that scale of stuff, at least, from what we're seeing at the moment. We are going to have Gran Turismo, but that is going to be track-focused. But I feel like a fun arcade racing game, like something like Blur, guys, I kind of feel like a lot of people would greatly enjoy this game. Now, one thing I am going to admit, I don't know if I'm tripping out, but I do feel like this game is also genuinely pretty difficult as well. Like, once you get farther into it, This game is going to be challenging, man. Going through the single player, I was honestly struggling a bit on some of the events. Like, I had to go through some of them like 10, 12 times, at least when I was trying to win the race or, trying to do like the checkpoint runs, which if you are wondering, there's also a few different game modes. One of them is going to be the actual race, which I would say everyone's aware of that one. You'll then end up having something like a checkpoint type of run to where you are going to see like little like stopwatch things around. You have to grab those to increase your time, and also grabbing the checkpoint is then going to increase your time on top of that. What's also really cool, guys, there's going to be like mini things in these events as well, like going over the gates and stuff like that can get you more XP and different challenges completed. But I did find these genuinely pretty fun alongside of the races, because you would also go into these thinking they were going to be very easy to do, but no, they were also going to be challenging on top of it, because you also had to get these stopwatches, figure out if you're not using the right vehicle, maybe you're too slow, you might miss a few stopwatches, you might not end up getting to that one like next checkpoint quick enough. There was a lot of things to think about. It also made it pretty entertaining. With that though, there was also going to be another game mode I genuinely really enjoyed in this, which, funnily enough, this did kind of remind me of Burnout a bit, because in this, guys, you basically spawn into your vehicle of your choice for that said class that you are doing. Then you're going to have to take down other vehicles with, like, that one thing that shoots out. You're going to get 3 of them. You'll pick more of them up throughout, like, the entire event. You're pretty much going to see nothing but Ford Focuses, at least until you get farther into the game, but you're going to have to take those out. They will then end up increasing your time to stay in this. You pretty much have to keep taking them out, kind of similar to something like Burnout, which is something I was thinking about. Not that that's a bad thing, because I love the Burnout series, so this is something I thought about instantly when I played this. But you are going to have to take out like all the green Ford Focuses. Once you do that, like a Hummer will spawn, even something like a truck. Those will take like 2 or 3 shots to take them down, but they're going to give you more time on the actual clock itself. So there was going to be a mix of different events. I would say players are probably going to like the races the most, at least I think they would. For me though, it was kind of cool going through each one, going, okay, well, here's a checkpoint race. You're also then going to have something like taking down all the racers with like shooting the purple things at them. Then you're also going to have a regular event. So at least there is a mix there. On top of that, guys, there's also going to be boss battles as well. This is something I did not realize at first, and in order to get this, you have to get every single challenge done on that said card thing that you are doing. So there's like 50 stars there. You're also going to have to get like different challenges. For example, like hit 10 opponents with like the shockwave thing, or beat 10 opponents, knock one off the road or something like that. There's going to be different challenges you have to do. Once all of those are met, which you can go back into the races and do them again, so no worries there. Once those are met, you can then 1v1 the said boss battle in that one. Once you beat them, you are also going to be rewarded with their vehicle. And I also found these pretty difficult, bro. I did actually have to find myself kind of just going back into them, going, okay, well, I can't beat the racers, so I might as well just try to destroy them, which is one of the methods I was pretty much doing in order to beat most of these, and it was honestly kind of working. But honestly though, guys, I could probably keep yapping about this game for like another 10 or 15 minutes, but I am going to do a few other videos on Blur, because I just found this game absolutely amazing. Like, for me though, this really is going to be such a unique racing game in so many different ways, man. We all do know a lot of games nowadays are once again kind of copying each other in a lot of places. So it was really nice to go back in and go, okay, so what even is this game? I've never heard of it. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, I was playing this game for hours on end, legit sucked into it. Don't get me wrong, I was kind of struggling a bit in some places trying to get used to like the racing, and again, it's pretty difficult once you are going to get farther into it, but man, like, it's so much fun learning the power-ups and stuff, realizing how they are going to help you, noticing how some probably won't help you that much. You're then going to avoid some of those, trying to grab some of the other ones because it can come in clutch, messing up one of the racers toward the end of that set event, or grabbing a booster and flying toward it, bro. It was just so cool. Like, this game really was so dang unique. I am so glad I found a copy. If you guys haven't played Blur yet, you are definitely missing out. I highly recommend trying this game out. It is easily going to be way more different than anything you've probably played if you've never played this before. And what I mean by that is, let's say you might have only played something like Forza or The Crew and maybe a little bit of the modern Need for Speed games. This game is going to be completely different than anything you have ever seen. And you know what? It's going to have a fun mix of everything in there, whether it's going to be like the Need for Speed arcadey handling, or you're going to be throwing in the Mario Kart type of weapons in there, Like, it really was a blast, and I would highly recommend this game to anybody. Do let me know your thoughts on Blur in the comments below, guys, and once again, stay tuned for a few more videos on it, because there are some other things I want to talk about with this game, and also kind of going over the racing game genre in general, on kind of what happened to it when playing this, compared to some of the new ones.